Jigawa State Command of the Nigeria Police Force, NPF, in a news statement few minutes ago says the death toll has increased to 170 in the Tuesday night tanker explosion in Tora local government area of the state, adding 70 other victims are still receiving treatment at various hospitals in the state. The death toll rose to 170, at the federal medical centers in Azare, Nguru, and Banenkudu. 70 people were receiving intensive care. Other hospitals where injured people are being treated include Hadejia General Hospital, Rashid Shekoni Teaching Hospital, Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, and Dala Orthopedic, the public relations unit of the police command stated. The command had reported that a tragic and devastating incident occurred on October 15, 2024, at about 22:30 hours, involving a petrol tanker with registration number KMC 6412F, driven by one Yusuf Mod, male, age 32 years of Hotoro Quarters, Kano State. The tanker was traveling from Kano to Nguru, Yobe State, when the driver lost control near Khadija University in Maja Town, Tora local government area, causing it to overturn and spill fuel. The petrol entered through the drainage to the outskirts of the village. Unfortunately, villagers attempted to scoop petrol from the drainage, resulting in a flame that engulfed the area and many people were reportedly perished. Area Commander Ringim, Divisional Police Officer Bujungu and their men swiftly raced to the scene. 105 corpses have been evacuated, while 50 injured persons were rushed to Ringim and Hadejia General Hospitals for medical attention. The fire was successfully extinguished through the combined efforts of police officers, firefighters, and Good Samaritans. The Commissioner of Police for Jigawa State, CPAT Abdullahi, has expressed his condolences to the people of Maja Town and the state as a whole, and he prays that the departed souls rest in perfect peace. Additionally, he prayed to the Almighty Allah to prevent such an incident from happening in the near future. The CP therefore cautions the well-meaning citizens of the state to stay away from the area where gas tankers have fallen due to the potential hazards related to petroleum products. DSP Lawan Shiaisu Adam, Police Public Relations Officer, Jigawa State Police Command said. Meanwhile, mourners on Wednesday gathered to bury the victims who died after a fuel tanker exploded in northern Nigeria's Jigawa State. Senator Babangida Hussaini, representing Jigawa Northwest Senatorial District in the National Assembly, in a statement said, "Yesterday, I visited Maja Town in Jigawa State to extend my condolences to over 100 families who tragically lost loved ones in the tanker explosion in Tora local government. This heartbreaking incident has left an indelible mark on the community, and my thoughts and prayers are with the grieving families during this difficult time. Along with my condolences, I have contributed 10 million naira to assist the surviving victims who are currently receiving treatment in hospitals across the state. I also visited the Jigawa State Government House to extend my condolences to the Governor of Jigawa State, His Excellency Umar Namadi and Moi. We discussed the ongoing efforts to provide relief and assistance to the affected families and survivors. In the face of this tragedy, we stand united. I will continue to collaborate with the relevant authorities to ensure that those affected receive the necessary support. May Allah SWT grant the deceased eternal rest and the survivors a quick recovery." Nigerian Medical Association, NMA Jigawa State Chapter, in a statement on Friday said, "At this trying moment, the NMA Jigawa State wishes to extend its profound gratitude and heartfelt commendation to the dedicated doctors and healthcare workers who are tirelessly managing our born patients following the tragic petrol tanker explosion in Maja Town. The incident has led to severe casualties, and despite being overwhelmed, our doctors in General Hospitals Ringim, Hadejia, Rashid Shekoni Federal University Teaching Hospital Dutse, Federal Medical Centers Banenkudu and Nguru, Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, AKTH, and the Orthopedics Hospital Dala have stepped up in this time of crisis to provide critical care to the victims. We salute the courage, resilience, and commitment of all the medical professionals on the front lines. Your tireless efforts, even in the face of overwhelming patient loads and limited resources, have not gone unnoticed. You continue to embody the true spirit of the medical profession, saving lives, easing suffering, and providing hope in the most challenging of circumstances. The NMA Jigawa urges health personnel, regardless of their duty schedule, to lend a hand in this critical period. Even if not officially on duty, are encouraged to visit thesis hospitals and assist wherever possible. Every effort counts in preventing further loss of life and ensuring that all patients receive the care they urgently need. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Adeolu Egbetukun, has, on behalf of the Nigeria Police Force, commiserates with the government and good people of Jigawa State, most especially the families of victims of the tanker explosion which occurred at about 11:30 p.m. on October 15, 2024, in Majia, Tora local government area of Jigawa State, claiming several lives and leaving many injured. The calamitous incident reportedly claimed the lives of over 100 people, while over 70 persons were seriously injured and are currently receiving treatment at various hospitals in the state. Also, the IGP commends the efforts of the police personnel and other emergency responders for their swift action in extinguishing the fire, evacuating the victims, and ensuring normalcy is swiftly restored in the area. The IGP, while praying for the souls of the departed ones, reassures the general public of robust sensitization programs on the hazardous effects of oil scooping and other similar activities. He equally urges motorists and road users to always exercise caution and adhere to laid down safety guidelines in their daily conduct, the Force Public Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, said in a statement on Thursday. Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf visited Jigawa State and donated 100 million naira to help the victims of the incident. In a statement issued on Thursday, he said, alongside the Deputy Governor, His Excellency Aminu Abdusalam, I led a high-powered delegation from the Kano State government to condole with the government and people of Jigawa State over the recent fire disaster in Majia, Tora local government area. While extending our sympathies to Governor Umar Namadi Danmadi at the Government House in Dutse on Thursday, I also announced a donation of 100 million naira from the Kano State government to the victims of the incident. The donation is meant to provide relief to the families of those who lost their lives and to support the treatment of those injured in the fire. We once again extend our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families and offer strength to those recovering from injuries. May the Almighty Allah grant relief to all. Local media in the Calais city in France have reported that a tribute service will be held in honor of a baby that died on Thursday night in an overloaded migrant boat which reportedly started sinking off the coast of Wissant in northern France, with 65 persons rescued alive. According to Calais local newspapers, on the night of October 17 to 18, a new tragedy took place off the coast of Wissant. An infant lost his life when a boat sank, trying to cross the channel to join England. The Maritime Prefecture of the Channel and the North Sea announced that 65 people were rescued safe and sound, but an infant found unconscious in the water could not be revived. The year 2024, a dark record of mortality in the English Channel. 2024 is the deadliest year since the beginning of fortune boat crossings. At least 52 people lost their lives trying to cross the maritime border. Among those victims, many children. On September 3rd, 6 of the 12 people who died in the worst shipwreck of the year were minors. On October 5th, a 2-year-old boy was crushed to death in a boat carrying more than 80 people. Figures provided by British authorities show a significant rise. Vessels arriving into England since January 1st have an average of 53 passengers, up from 13 in 2020, according to a calculation compiled by Offshore BFM. Since the beginning of the year, more than 26,000 people have crossed the channel to reach British coasts. A citizen tribute will take place tomorrow evening at 18:30 in front of Richelieu Park, in Calais. A baby had been confirmed died, and 65 other persons were rescued after an overloaded migrant dinghy headed for the UK from France capsized and sank on Thursday night. French maritime authorities managed to save the survivors, but the baby, found unconscious, was later declared dead, according to AFP reports. This tragic incident marks 2024 as the deadliest year since 2018 for migrants attempting the dangerous English Channel crossing. The accident occurred near the French town of Wissant, according to the maritime authority overseeing the Channel and the North Sea. They stated, 65 people were rescued but a baby was found unconscious and sadly declared dead. This latest tragedy brings the total number of migrants who have died while trying to cross the Channel in 2024 to at least 52, setting a grim record not seen in 6 years. On September 3rd, 12 migrants, 6 children and 6 adults, lost their lives. Just a month later, a 2-year-old boy and 3 adults also perished in similar incidents involving overloaded boats. British figures show that the number of migrants arriving in boats averaged 53 this year, a significant increase compared to 13 in 2020. Over 26,000 migrants have landed on British shores since January 1st, according to data from the UK Home Office. 4 ships, including a French Navy vessel, and a helicopter were involved in the operation to help those on board the stricken craft, AFP reported. A statement from French maritime authorities said, on the evening of Thursday, October 17th, the departure of a migrant boat off the coast of Wissant was reported to the Greenace Regional Operational Surveillance and Rescue Center, CROSS. Once on site, the resources noted that the boat, which was heavily loaded, was in difficulty and that some of the people were in the water. The resources then put their semi-rigid boats in the water and began to recover the people in difficulty. The statement added that a boat named Abel Normandy took 65 people on board, and another vessel, the Mink, recovered an unconscious infant, who was transferred aboard the Abel Normandy. It added that paramedics from the helicopter boarded the Abel Normandy but that sadly the child was declared dead by the dispatching doctor. The statement continued, the area of the shipwreck having been fully investigated, the maritime prefect of the Channel and the North Sea decided to interrupt the searches led by the CROSS. The 65 castaways and the deceased infant rescued by the Abel Normandy were then dropped off at the port of Boulogne-sur-Mer. Once at the quayside, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the ongoing war in Gaza can end tomorrow if Hamas fighters lay down their arms and return the 101 hostages of Israeli residents from 23 countries, adding, the death of Yahya Sinwar, Hamas leader in Rafah, is the beginning to ending the war in Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu disclosed this in a video broadcast on Thursday while confirming the killing of Yahya Sinwar in Rafah by Israeli troops. Yahya Sinwar, according to the Prime Minister, is the one that masterminded the October 7, 2023 attack on Israel, that led to the killing of 1,200 people and 251 taken hostage. Office of the Israeli Prime Minister in a statement on Thursday stated that the USA President, Joe Biden, has called Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the evening of Thursday from Air Force One and congratulated him on the elimination of Yahya Sinwar. According to the statement, the USA President commended the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, for its excellent operation. Both leaders agreed that there is an opportunity to advance the release of the hostages and that they would work together to achieve this objective, the statement reads in part. Benjamin Netanyahu in the video broadcast said, and in quote, that Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. 1 year ago, Yahya Sinwar, the terrorist chief of Hamas, launched the October 7th massacre against Israel. It was the bloodiest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. It was the worst attack on the Jewish state since the founding of Israel. Sinwar's terrorists murdered in cold blood 1,200 people. That's elderly people, Holocaust survivors, children. They brutally raped women, they beheaded men, they burned babies alive, and they took 251 women, men and children hostage to the dungeons of Gaza. Today, the mastermind of this day of sheer evil is no more. Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. To the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow. It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages. Hamas is holding 101 hostages in Gaza, who are citizens of 23 countries, citizens of Israel, but citizens of many other countries. Israel is committed to doing everything in our power to bring all of them home. And Israel will guarantee the safety of all those who return our hostages. But to those who would harm our hostages, I have another message. Israel will hunt you down and bring you to justice. I also have a message of hope to the peoples of the region. The axis of terror that was built by Iran is collapsing before our eyes. Nasrallah is gone. His deputy Wazin is gone. Haniyeh is gone. Deif is gone. Sinwar is gone. The reign of terror that the Iranian regime has imposed on its own people and on the peoples of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon and Yemen, this too will come to an end. All those who seek a future of prosperity and peace in the Middle East should unite to build a better future. Together, we can push back the forces of darkness and create a future of light and hope for all of us. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has always believed the unreleased hostages are kept by Yahya Sinwar. On May 27, 2024, Benjamin Netanyahu during a press conference at the Knesset stated that the repeated false claims that we are the obstacle are not only harmful to the families, that much is obvious, and I sympathize with them. But it goes beyond that. It delays the release of the hostages and undermines negotiations. Instead of focusing pressure on Sinwar, who holds the hostages in his dungeons, the pressure is misdirected at the Israeli government. Israel is constantly asked to make concession after concession. So why would Sinwar feel any pressure? He sits in his bunker, rubbing his hands in satisfaction, delighted that others are doing the work for him. The pressure should be directed at Hamas. We are taking action against them, fighting hard in the north, center, and south of the Gaza Strip. In Rafah, we have evacuated about 1 million civilians. Tragically, despite our immense efforts to avoid harming non-combatants, an incident occurred yesterday. We are investigating it thoroughly and will learn from it, as is our policy and long-standing conduct. For us, any non-combatant hurt is a tragedy. For Hamas, it is a strategy. That is the core difference. The pressure, both international and domestic, on the Israeli government, which is doing everything possible to secure the hostages' release, only strengthens Sinwar's resolve, leading him to demand terms that would endanger Israel's very existence, terms we cannot accept. Let me be clear. I will not yield or surrender. I will not end the war before achieving all our goals. Our fallen heroes will not have died in vain. If we surrender, the massacres, rapes, and atrocities of October 7th will be repeated, just as Hamas has promised. If we surrender, we will not bring back all our hostages. If we surrender, we will deliver a great victory to terrorism, to Iran, and to the entire axis of evil, those who wish us dead. Those who say they cannot withstand the pressure should raise a black flag. No, they should wave a white flag and surrender. I will not. I will continue the fight until we raise the flag of victory. Meanwhile, Israel government had during the week reacted to the statement credited to the President of France over Israel war in Lebanon, saying, "A reminder to the French President, it was not a UN decision that established the state of Israel but the victory that was achieved in the war of independence with the blood of our heroic fighters, many of whom were Holocaust survivors, including from the Vichy regime in France." It would also be worthwhile to recall that in recent decades, the UN has approved hundreds of anti-Semitic decisions against the state of Israel, the purpose of which is to deny the one and only Jewish state's right to exist and its ability to defend itself. Also during the week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu refuted reports that the Israeli soldiers deliberately attacked United Nations peacekeepers' base in Lebanon. The Prime Minister said, "The charge that Israel deliberately attacked UNIFIL personnel is completely false. It's exactly the opposite. Israel repeatedly asked UNIFIL to get out of harm's way. It repeatedly asked them to temporarily leave the combat zone, which is right next to Israel's border with Lebanon. In fact, on the day that Israel began its ground operation next to our border with Lebanon, we asked them specifically, please leave this area so you're not harmed. Israel is not fighting UNIFIL. It's not fighting the people of Lebanon. It is fighting Iran's proxy Hezbollah, which uses Lebanese territory to attack Israel. Hezbollah attacked Israel last year without any provocation on October 8th, a day after the Hamas massacre, and it's continued to attack us ever since by launching over 10,000 rockets and missiles at Israel. Hezbollah uses UNIFIL facilities and positions as cover while it attacks Israeli cities and communities. These attacks have claimed the lives of many Israelis, including yesterday. Israel has every right to defend itself against Hezbollah and will continue to do so. We regret any harm done to UNIFIL personnel, and the IDF is doing its utmost to prevent such incidents, but the best way to assure the safety of UNIFIL personnel is for UNIFIL to heed Israel's request and to temporarily get out of harm's way.
1 year ago, Yahya Sinwar, the terrorist chief of Hamas, launched the October 7th massacre against Israel. It was the bloodiest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. It was the worst attack on the Jewish state since the founding of Israel. Sinwar's terrorists murdered in cold blood 1,200 people. That's elderly people, Holocaust survivors, children. They brutally raped women. They beheaded men. They burned babies alive. And they took some 250 men, 251 women, men, and children hostage to the dungeons of Gaza. Today, the mastermind of this day of sheer evil is no more. Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. To the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow. It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages. Hamas is holding 101 hostages in Gaza, who are citizens of 23 countries, citizens of Israel, but citizens of many other countries. Israel is committed to doing everything in our power to bring all of them home. And Israel will guarantee the safety of all those who return our hostages. But to those who would harm our hostages, I have another message. Israel will hunt you down and bring you to justice. I also have a message of hope to the peoples of the region. The axis of terror that was built by Iran is collapsing before our eyes. Nasrallah is gone. His deputy Muhsin is gone. Haniyeh is gone. Def is gone. Sinwar is gone. The reign of terror that the Iranian regime has imposed on its own people and on the peoples of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, this too will come to an end. All those who seek a future of prosperity and peace in the Middle East should unite to build a better future. Together, we can push back the forces of darkness.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.